Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Muhammad Uzair and I am giving the series of lectures on the topic of ecology. The word ecology is derived from the Greek words oikos and logos. Oikos means the home and logos means to study. The ecology was Eugene Odom is known as the father of ecology. Ecology is the study of interactions of living organisms with their environment, and these interactions include with the living things and the non-living things of an environment. If we are studying like symbiosis and competition or effect of insects on the pollination, then we are studying ecology. At the same time, how the physical features of an ecosystem affects the living things, these all are included in the ecology. Then we have levels of ecology. In ecology we study an organism starting from individual level up to the biosphere, and these levels include individual, and then population, then community, then ecosystem, and then biosphere level. Broadly speaking, we we classify ecology into two main branches, that are articology and synecology. Articology is basically the population ecology, and synecology is community ecology. In articology, we study the interactions and the behaviors of the living organisms belonging to same similar species. Mean we study the interactions within a population. In synecology, we study the interactions between the organisms belonging to all different species. So articology is basically a population ecology, and synecology is a community ecology. So we can say that ecology is the study of ecosystem. Basically, the ecosystem is basic unit of ecology, and ecosystem means the study of whom. So a group of organisms interacting with other organisms and with the non-living things of the environment may be called as an ecosystem. The term ecosystem was first given by A.G. Tencel in 1935 as the system resulting from the interaction of all the living and non-living things within an environment. For example, a pound of forest and a grassland are the main examples of the ecosystem, and along with the living things of an ecosystem of an environment. Ecosystem also include the physical factors like sunlight and soil and minerals and rocks of the environment. We classify the ecosystem into two types, that are natural ecosystem and artificial ecosystem. Natural are the ecosystems that in which there is no interference by human beings, and that have completely natural conditions. And artificial ecosystems are human-made ecosystems. And in natural ecosystems, we classify it into two types, that are terrestrial ecosystem and aquatic ecosystem. Then further in the we study terrestrial ecosystem by dividing into forests, grasslands, and then into deserts. And the examples of artificial ecosystems are aquarium and crop fields. First of all, we have forest ecosystem. Forest ecology is the scientific study of interactions of the living organisms with their environment within the forests, and it is the study of the interrelated patterns, processes, flora and fauna in in forest ecosystems. Forests occupies 40% of the land area, and they receive moderate to high rainfall starting from 30 inches and up to 60 inches. Tall plants and trees are the characteristics of forests. For example, forest ecosystem is divided into tropical rainforests, tropical deciduous forests, tropical scrub forests, temperate rainforest, temperate deciduous forest, and evergreen coniferous forest. And this division is uh, this division is depend upon the environment and climate conditions of these areas. This diagram shows that as we move from boreal forests to tropical forests, there is an increase in temperature, and if we move along the x-axis, there is increase in dryness, and this dryness is reach up to its peak at in the desert ecosystem. Desert ecosystem is the with the lowest rainfall in the natural ecosystem, and that ranges from 10 to 20 inches. Desert occupy 35% of the land. So desert is characterized by an ecosystem with the little rainfall and highest temperature, where the evaporation exceeds precipitation. There are mainly two kinds of the desert ecosystem, that are hard deserts and cold deserts. Cold deserts are found near the north and south poles, and these are characterized by short warm summers and long cold winters. And the hot deserts have very high temperature all around the year, and their summers are very hot and dry. Then next we have grassland. These are the plain land occupied by grasses, and these occupy 32% of the terrestrial land, and these are characterized by low and uneven rainfall, and it ranges from 10 to 30 inches. These ecosystems have long grasses, and the grasslands occur in the regions that are too dry for the forest, but that have sufficient soil water to support a close herbaceous plant canopy that is lacking in the desert. Based on similarity of dominant vegetation, presence or absence of specific dominant species or prevailing climate conditions, grassland ecosystem is classified into temperate grassland, tropical grassland, and polar grassland. Grassland soils are highly fertile and contain large amount of exchangeable bases and organic matter. The fourth type in the terrestrial ecosystem are the estuaries. An estuary is a semi-closed coastal body of water that has free connection with sea. These are actually the transition zone between the land and sea, and estuary is the place where a river touches or attaches with the sea. The characteristics of estuary changes periodically. However, in general characteristics, the salinity is highest during the summer and lowest during the winter. And there are basically three zones in an estuary, that are freshwater estuarine and neritic zone. And in freshwater zone, the salinity changes from 0 to 5 ppt parts per million, and then in estuarine zone there is change of salinity from 5 to 25 ppt, and then in neritic zone there is change of salinity from there is high concentration of salt than 55 ppt. This zone is very rich in nutrients and leads to the high productivity and high biodiversity, and sediments settle out in the estuary when the water slows down, and nutrients accumulate on the bottom, that is the benthic zone, and pollutants are absorbed in estuaries. This was all about the terrestrial ecosystem. Then next we have aquatic ecosystem, and that is basically ecosystem in the bodies of water. And there are two types of bodies of water, that are freshwater bodies and then marine bodies. And depending upon these two types, we also have there are two types of aquatic ecosystem, that are freshwater ecosystem and then marine ecosystem. Aquatic ecosystem with low water contents are the freshwater, and their study is freshwater ecosystem. Freshwater bodies may be lotic or lentic, that are lotic bodies have running water like spring, stream or rivers, and the lentic bodies include lake, pond and pools, and these are the bodies with standing water. In pond ecosystem, small bodies of fresh water with shallow and still water, marsh and aquatic plants. And in a lake ecosystem, slow moving water like pools, ponds and lakes. And in a river ecosystem, large streams flowing downward from the mountain highland into the sea. And marine ecosystem are the ecosystems with high levels of dissolved salts, and these include the open oceans and deep sea oceans and coastal marine ecosystems, each of which have different physical and biological characteristics. It covers approximately 71% of the Earth's surface and contain approximately 97% of the planet's water. Then next is the man-engineered ecosystem. Uh, we have the example of aquarium and crops. These are maintained artificially by man, where by addition of energy and plant manipulation, natural balance is distributed regularly. And in examples, we have cropland ecosystem. In the next portion of this lecture, we will describe components of ecosystem, that are biotic and abiotic components, and inshallah these will be explained. Link of the next video is given in the following. And thank you for watching video. Allah Hafiz.